Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to today's hearing. My name is Councillor Baclini, and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Shaw, Councillor Gallant, and I comprise today's subcommittee. Makisha Grant, who is the clerk to the subcommittee, will be minuting the meeting. Hatoun Zeb is the legal advisor to the subcommittee. You will have all received or seen the agenda pack, within which is contained the licensing officer's report with details of the application in section 1. To confirm, we are dealing with a review relating to the old oak tree, the common, Southall, UB2 5PJ. In accordance with procedure, I shall invite the applicant to present the application, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. I'll also invite those who have made representations or objections to make their representations, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee democratic services officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting and confirmed in writing within 5 working days. If the panel cannot reach a decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. I will now start by asking all those intending to speak to introduce themselves, and I'll start with the premises holder, please. Could you, Mrs. Gurpreet, could you please introduce yourself?
Mrs. Gurpreet Grewal, the licensee.
And what's your capacity in this premises?
I am the license holder.
Thank you.
And part owner, because the property is in my husband's name, but obviously we own it.
Thank you. Puneet?
I am Gurpreet Grewal's daughter, have dealings in so far as if they interview, I assist with that, any contracts that are drawn up, but yeah, that's it, otherwise a lawyer by profession.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Robert Deere. I'm known as Bob. I am the licensing enforcement and compliance officer at Ealing Council and the applicant for this application.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts?
Good morning, Dave Roberts. I'm from the Home Office Immigration Enforcement based at West London ICE.
Thank you. Evelina?
Hi, good morning. I'm Evelina Kaczówka, the Noise and Nuisance Officer. I also submitted a representation for this application.
Thank you. I will now ask, please, Bob Deere to start his application.
Thank you, Chair. Just as a point of clarification, I've asked, obviously, Dave Roberts to come here today in case yourselves or Mrs. Grewal has got any points that to clarify on the application. But this is an application, as quite rightly mentioned, to review the old oak tree, which is in the common Southall. I served a review on the 23rd of January 2026, and that's when the blue notices were displayed at the premises. This premises licence is an old licence that was converted from the old Justice's licence back in 2005. No applications were received or ever been received to hours of this premises. Hence, the hours are 11 o'clock finish with 20 minutes drinking up time. They are conditions on the licence. These premises first came to mine and the licensing enforcement team back in 2019. Intelligence was that the premises were having dancer evenings. We did make a couple of visits to the locality, but the premises were not found to be operating on the nights we went. However, on the Wednesday, the 27th of November 2019, we visited with trading standards and the Metropolitan Police. We entered through an open rear door, which is you walk past the toilets, and we went through a door into the bar area, which, if you look at the premises, on the left-hand side. Music was playing, and on the right-hand side, Curtains have been erected to form 3 booths. In your pack, there is a photo at page 23. And I then checked one of the booths, and in the booth was a naked female performing a dance for a male who sat on a seat. She was told to stop and get dressed. Excuse me. The other 2 booths were empty. Each had a chair, as you can see on the photo. To the left, there were 2 females dressed in lingerie, standing near a group of tables where it appeared dancers' clothing and bags were kept. The bar opening had a black satin curtain covering it, and the curtains at the front of the premises were closed and held together with heavy-duty paper clips. Sat on the seating in front of this were 3 males with 3 females, were all dressed in lingerie. One of the males was seen cuddling one of the females and stroking her thigh. Sat outside the bar in the entrance hall between the 2 bars was a male, heavily tattooed and with a lot of piercings. When asked his role, he stated that he took any entrance fees and made sure that no one entered without permission. He did not possess a valid Security Industry Authority badge. All the females' details were collated, and then they would dismantle the booths and were seen to store these poles, weights and the curtains in a locked store at the side of the pub in the car park. They spoke openly to officers, stating that they work there on Wednesdays and charge £10 for a naked dance, but do not allow contact. The husband of the premises licence holder was spoken to by police and stated that it was a private booking. The second visit to these premises was on Friday, the 17th of November, 2023. Officers from Immigration West London ICE, accompanied by police, conducted an enforcement visit to the premises. Power of entry was gained by informed consent. While the officers were trying to gain entry, a male instantly left the lobby and ran up the stairs. The old oak tree has 2 floors, 10+ rooms, but officers did not clear all the rooms. However, every room checked had immigration offenders inside. There was an open room which had 15+ suitcases with name tags, assuming these belonged to recent arrivals. A trailer in the rear car park had 5 Indian males. One of the males attempted to abscond but was apprehended by police. There was also a small caravan with 1 British female and 1 Zairean male who was on immigration bail and reporting. Officers were only able to clear 5 rooms from the 1st and 2nd floor. A total of 25 persons were encountered, resulting in 9 arrests. That includes the mobile home in the pub car park stroke garden and the little caravan that was mentioned. All were Indian nationals. 1 Indian male was bailed due to outstanding application. 8 nationals were detained. And it says here 2 males arrested were from the trailer and 7 were arrested from the 5 rooms in the pub. No civil penalty was served, as none of the persons were working in the premises, just staying there. A referral was sent by the Chief Immigration Officer, Mr. Foster, to Ealing Council regarding the state of the rooms, regarding the concerns for the welfare of the residents. I think cockroaches were seen on that occasion. The final visit was on Friday, the 7th of November, 2025. Following recent intelligence and complaints that the premises were reopening at 23:30 and having illegal dancers and workers at the premises, warrants were obtained by the Home Office immigration officers for the pub, the rooms upstairs, the trailer, the caravan in the rear car park, and excuse me, and officers from the noise team had actually witnessed people coming and going at those times. 11:30, we visit the premises and counted 3 males in the trailer at the rear. All were checked and found to be in breach of visa conditions or overstayers. An Indian couple were found in a downstairs room, and a male was found to be an overstayer. I will break these up from the officer's statements because there is quite a few statements in the pack. One had his university course curtailed, so was from that date an overstayer in this country. Whilst there, we also encountered a group of 7 Somalian males who were all sat in the outside smoking shelter, which is to the right of the pub as you look at it, and the car park entrance is in between the pub and this shelter. There was evidence of drug use, and alcohol was evident in the shelter. Due to obstructive and aggressive nature, extra police officers were called and they were moved on and away from the premises. And when it was checked from under the corner table, where they'd all been congregating, a large machete was found. All the persons, these are immigration because the males had all walked off and were unable to be detained, were arrested. In total on this visit, 10 persons were encountered, resulting in 5 arrests. Again, no civil penalty as the individuals were not working at the premises at the time of the visit. I'll just go quickly through the statements of the officers. If you look at witness statement for Adam Goodchild, he mentions that one of the males attempted to climb out the window of the mobile home, and he turned out to be an overstayer. The male that I mentioned that was found in the downstairs room was actually an overstayer as well. But he, when he was questioned, actually stated he'd been staying at that hotel for months and paying £500 a month rent. So he wasn't a guest at the hotel at all. We had one student male that was, as I said, his university course had been curtailed because he hadn't attended. And also one male that was found in a bedroom, and in that bedroom, or in the bathroom in that bedroom, was found a female who turned out to be the girlfriend of the young gentleman. He was detained and the girl left the premises. Obviously, if there's any other questions for myself, otherwise I'll ask you to ask some questions of myself or points of clarification from Mr. Roberts. Otherwise, I will let Evelina do her representation.
Thank you. I think we will give Evelina and Mr. Roberts a chance to speak, but I will ask my fellow colleagues if they have any questions to ask you, and also Mrs. Gruel if she has first any questions to ask Bob Deere.
No, I have no questions at the moment.
No questions. Councillor Gallant, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Mr. Deere, for your summing up there. There's a lot of information which we've been through, and you've summed it up. Could I just ask you, please? You've asked for a revocation of the license, a complete revocation of the license on these grounds. Can you just tell us why you think that is appropriate?
Yes, sir. Obviously, these premises. Also, I'd like to add just quickly as well that Mrs. Gruel is actually the designated premises super at the license premises as well, and obviously is responsible for the day-to-day running of that premises. The premises have come to notice, obviously, for on the first offence, they had no SEV license. That's a sexual entertainment venue license. They had not applied for any exemption to that license. However, they were having people do naked dances there, which means it is licensable. Second time, we find many people in there. The premises again, I think it was 25 encountered, 9 arrests. And on the Friday visit, 10 persons encountered, 5 arrests. Most or some of these people were actually encountered from the mobile home and caravan at the rear of the premises. These premises never come to the licensing authorities at all for help, assistance or guidance, and the offences that they've committed are quite severe. So I don't think there is any alternative, and normally I would ask for that recommendation that I would ask for the subcommittees are in this case, that for you to, you know, look at other sanctions. However, I believe there are 5 options that you can consider, but only the verification I think would be suitable for this premises. You will hear from the noise team about continuous breaches of the license, and when they were caught at 8:30, I think 8:15 we went in there on the first visit, they didn't stop. The intelligence is they've been opening at 11:30 at night, and there is proof of that as well, and continuing their activities then. So I don't think there is any alternative sanction that can be liable to these premises.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Chair, can I just ask one more, please?
Yes.
What was the reason there was no review carried out in 2019 when that was discovered?
They were given a warning, sir, as per our enforcement. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So it was given a warning, but didn't lead to any review. Didn't come before the panel at all. Okay. No. Thanks. That's fine. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll move now to Councillor Shaw. Please ask your question.
Yep. Thanks, Chair. And just first of all, further to the question Councillor Gallant has just asked, you know, obviously on the second visit in 2023, I think it was no warning was, or another warning wasn't brought, or it didn't come to review. So I was just wondering why that is, if a warning had already been issued in 2019.
The reason we didn't take it to review then, sir, is because at that stage we weren't informed of it. It was only through the immigration service that we've found out that visit was made, and those it was a joint visit with the police.
Yeah, so that was a police and immigration raid.
Yes.
that you had no part in, and the council was informed subsequently. Yes,
that's correct, sir. Yes,
that's okay. Yes, that helps explain it. Thank you very much. I don't have anything else. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I will move now to the nuisance team. To Evelina, please, to introduce your own application. Please.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Dio, for making this application. Just wanted to make it clear that the noise team fully supports the application and the decision or your question to revoke the premises license. The history of noise complaints goes back to 2015. However, I will only focus on the last year or so since my involvement began into this case. So I'll just quickly provide a summary of complaints and observations and enforcement actions that I was leading on. The noise complaints were logged with our service back in April 2025. The allegations were that consistently every Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday there was loud amplified music until 3 AM emanating from the premises and keeping local residents awake. I issued a letter to the premises advising on those complaints. However, very little action or no action was taken following my warning, because a couple of days later our officers visited at 2:25 a.m. in the morning. May I just remind that the premises should be closed at this hour because the premises license only allowed them to operate until 11 p.m. So that was well overdue. There was actually no parking space available for the officers to park their vehicle. There were bottles of drinks scattered, and they could see groups of males congregating. The music was already audible from the street level. There was a lot of raised voices as well. Similar situation was witnessed 5 days later on the 25th of April 2025. Again, the music was excessive, unreasonable. It was clearly heard into the complainant's property. We also heard from the complainant that they didn't feel safe into their own property. The reason why is that it is believed that the pub was attracting groups of males that they were congregating in the shelter mentioned by Mr. Deer. They were also covering their faces and coming and going out of the pub, and the residents didn't feel safe, and they didn't feel safe to pass nearby because obviously the groups were looking a little suspicious. There was also allegations of drug dealing from the shelter or around the premises. And again, the music and nuisance was witnessed. Similar situation was witnessed on the 27th of April. So we would see in a space of 3 days, every time we were called out, we attended and witnessed unreasonable noise levels. And all of those incidents when witnessed outside of the licensable hours. So that's an offence in itself. We tried to reason with the management. However, there was we couldn't have reasonable conversation with the manager who was managing the premises at the time. He seemed to have very little knowledge or understanding of the premises license or the or generally how to run the premises. So it was decided that the noise abatement notice needed to be served. So but on the 29th, apologies, on the 30th of April, I attended the premises prior to speaking to Mr. and Mrs. Grewal, making them aware of the service of the notice and the events that were witnessed by our noise team. Although Mrs. Grewal said she is very much involved into day-to-day running of the premises, it was hard to believe, because if she was, she would have seen the state of the property. The premises very much were untidy, and the management was careless and disrespectful towards the local residents. So I doubt that she was involved into everyday, day-to-day running of the premises, because of the number of issues we've had with the management and the way how they run the premises. So the notice was served on the 30th of April 2025. Following the service of the notice, we had received a couple of complaints. However, no actual noise was witnessed from the premises, and we had some information from the local residents suggesting that there was a CCTV installed just to intercept and see our officers coming around and making observations. So there was one occasion when the noise had stopped as soon as we arrived. So perhaps someone was on the lookout. What I should say here is that a part of the nuisance being, major aspect of our investigation, it was very much concerning to see the way how the premises was run. As I said, it was the management was very much disregarding licensing objectives. They were not aware of the conditions of the premises license. One of the managers said to me that he actually doesn't know how to close the pub on time, and blame the patrons that were staying and finishing up on their drinks. So only showed that it was inadequate person on a position. I think that there was very little or none supervision from the owners. So they perhaps were not unaware of the situation within the premises. They didn't supervise the business closely, and that could be a result of all those failings. Although they've been made aware of those situations and asked to step in, we couldn't really see much improvement. So that's a big failure and the public, risk to the public if the management or the owners are not actively involved into the management of the premises and they don't run the premises responsibly. So it would just to say that yes, the noise team fully supports the application and ideally would like to see the premises license to be revoked. And if there's any questions, please, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you, Evelina.
Thank you.
Just a point of clarification. On April, when you visited, who did you speak to? Just to clarify.
Since April to July 2025, there's been a change of management. So there was, I believe at the beginning, it was Mr. Darshan, who was the son of Mr. Grawal, and also there was another manager, Pashan, Mr. Pashan. But also in July, there was a person, I think when I visited, the pub was shut. However, I met a young gentleman on site who introduced himself as the manager, and his name was Mr. Smith, I believe, but I'll find out. So there was 3 different persons.
Okay. So you've never encountered Mrs. Gurpreet during all your visits?
It was only over the phone, and during one of my visits, a colleague of mine, PC Anumitu, she was speaking on a loudspeaker with Mr. Grawal in my presence. So we kind of all together discussed the concerns and our findings from the inspection at the time.
Thank you. I will now move to see if Mrs. Grawal, do you have any questions to ask Evelina?
No, I was just going to say that I've never met Evelina. She said she spoke to me and she met me at the premises, but I've never met Evelina.
Sorry, she said she spoke to you over the phone.
Yeah, afterwards, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, not at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move to Councillor Gallant.
Hi, Chair. Quick question to Evelina. Ms. Kaszowska, would you say that the noise levels after the notice have been served, are you saying the noise levels dropped to a satisfactorily? Are you satisfied that was taken into account and they responded to that? Before that, was the noise actually coming from inside the pub? It seems like an obvious question, but was it coming from inside the pub, or was it coming from other areas, ghetto blasters on the pavement and so on? And was the pub visibly open outside of the opening hours?
Yes, so I'd say yes, of course, the amplified music was coming from the pub. The pub was visibly open, the lights were on, you could see a significant amount of footfall coming in and out, although we never could see what was happening in the pub because on each occasion the curtains were drawn, so we couldn't really see any actions within, but then definitely the music was coming from within, and also when we were attending, we could hear it ourselves. The music definitely was coming from the pub. Yes, I would say the noise levels have reduced following the service of the notice, although I still had some complaints. But for some reason I couldn't substantiate those. So I would say yes, the noise levels had improved following the service of the enforcement notice.
Thank you very much. I also wanted to ask you, as you did visit late, did you actually see alcohol being served and being brought out of the pub onto the street?
Mm-hmm. The late night visits were carried out by my colleagues and the park guards officers. So there is a mention, if you bear with me for a second, there is a mention in one of their notes, they could see some beverages. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was, yeah.
That's fine. I can look for that. That's fine.
Yeah, it's all within my notes, but
it's in your report, is it? Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Shaw, do you have any questions?
Yes, thanks, Chair. Just one again, just to go back of the management of the pub and really sort of trying to establish just who was running the pub and who was in charge. So you tried to engage, just to clarify, between April and July last year, 2025. Yes, and you came across 3 different people who were all managers at different stages or at the same time. Was it clear to you? There was a Mr. Dalshan, a Mr. Krashan or Krasan, and a Mr. Smith you mentioned.
So it wasn't clear to me. At the beginning, I was convinced that the son of Mr. Greval was running the premises because that was the case in the past. However, when we were in attendance, there was another person who also introduced himself and claimed to be the manager of the premises, Mr. Pashant. On my last visit, Mr. Pashant wasn't there, and the latest manager informed me that all of the managements who had any dealings with the pub in the past had left and moved elsewhere, and he's the only one person responsible for the pub, and he's employed by Mr. Grewal, not his son, where was the case with the previous management, I believe. Previous management might have been employed by the son of Mr. Grewal, who was actively running the business.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. That's very helpful.
Thank you. I will move now. Oh, we have a question from Bob Deere. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. It's just that Evelina, sorry to put you on the spot. Well, do you know what the fine is for breach of the noise abatement notice for every occasion they breach it?
The fines are defined by magistrates once breaches of the abatement notice are evidence, and they can be unlimited as far as I know, and then the fines would be issued for every single day of the offence being committed should the person issued with the notice didn't comply with the court ruling. So it would be a daily fine.
And one other matter, would you, after dealings with Darshan, the son, would you expect Darshan as the manager or the person responsible running the premises speak to his mother and father and tell them that
Sorry, can I just clarify that?
In a minute, when it's your time, please,
Okay.
Mrs. Gurpreet. Yeah.
Chair, if obviously if Darshan is not her son, is that what you're going to say, Mrs. Greville?
I was going to say that's my husband. That's not my son.
Darshan is.
Okay.
Yes.
So Mr. Darshan is your husband.
Well,
Yes.
the person that you spoke to, Evelina, sorry, who said he was the son of Mr. and Mrs. Greville, would you expect him to pass on problems that have been raised by the council to them, as they are the premises licence holder by lease and the premises licence holder and the designated premises supervisor? Would you expect that as normal?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be the minimal expectation. However, prior to the service of the notice, when I spoke to Mr. and Mrs. Grewal over the phone, and Mrs. Grewal gave the permission for me to discuss the case in more details with her husband, who is not the designated premises supervisor. He wasn't even aware of the premises licensable hours, so I was led to believe that they're not involved into running of the business, and that those powers were delegated to someone else, their son or the managers employed by them. So it wasn't really clear who takes the responsibility for day-to-day running of the business.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chair, I have no other questions. Have you got any points of clarification of?
Sorry, you went off.
Sorry.
Can you please repeat the question?
Sorry. Have you? I've got no other questions of Evelina. Have you got any questions or points of clarification you want about the visits from immigration from Mr. Roberts?
Yes, I will move now, Mr. Bob Deere. I will move to Dave Roberts to introduce his own statement and present his application. Oh, Mrs.
Chair, just reminding you that Miss Gruel wanted to say something and you paused her at one point, so maybe now is a good time if it was in regards to Evelina's evidence.
Actually, it was a point of clarification about who Mr. Darshan was, and she clarified, unless Mrs. Gurpreet has anything else to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Prashant Tyagi is still our manager. And my son has never been involved in the day-to-day running of the premises.
Okay.
My husband is Darshan Grewal.
Yeah.
I think Evelina has him down as my son.
Apologies. Who is then Gurpreet? So is that yourself, Gurpreet Gruel? Apologies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Mrs. Gruel?
No, not at the moment.
Thank you. Okay, Dave Roberts, please, can you present your application?
Good morning. Dave Robertson from the Home Office Immigration Enforcement, based with West London ICE. I think Mr. Deere has presented everything that I would wish to explain, and rather than me sort of repeat that, obviously immigration enforcement teams have visited on 2 occasions. On both occasions, we've encountered a large number of immigration offenders residing in the rooms above or in the caravans to the rear. Our concern with the information that we had regarding potential exploitation of exotic dancers, or if prostitution was taking place. So our concern was around potential exploitation, modern slavery, and then following on from that, investigating illegal working, which is why we conducted those visits. I was present on the visit last November. I have to say there was quite an alarm from some of my officers because of the group of people outside who appeared to be drinking on and potentially taking some drugs, specifically when they became quite aggressive towards my officers, and then subsequently, once they did leave the area, a large zombie knife was found, which obviously from their point of view concerned them from an officer safety perspective. But the overall perspective that I had was that it wasn't clear as to if there was anyone resident in the premises who was responsible for it or responsible for that outside area. But I shall leave it there unless anyone has any questions for me.
Thank you. I see that Councillor Shaw has a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Roberts, and I've read your evidence, which is very thorough, and those of all your officers, of course. There's quite a lot in the bundle there. I was just wondering if you could just clarify for us, please, just what action was taken against some of the people who had been committing immigration offences. I know Mr. Deere mentioned that no sort of civil action was taken because they weren't sort of being employed or working. So, you know, can you explain what happened to other people?
Yeah. So anyone that when we encounter people, we would speak to them regarding what their immigration status is, and then if they were found to be immigration offenders, we would arrest them and then give them effectively paperwork that outlines to them what their immigration status is and is a notice of liability that they are liable to be removed from the UK. Some of those individuals were detained, and they would have been detained pending arrangements for them to be returned to their home country. Some may have been bailed, and for that could be for a number of reasons, whether or not there's potentially an application that could become outstanding or would mean that they weren't liable to be removed at that point, or another reason potentially that they don't have a travel document to return to their home country. So those are the potential outcomes for those people that we arrested.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for clarifying that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gallant.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Dave, and likewise, thanks for the detail on the reports. The zombie knife, can you just say where that was found, what happened to it?
That was found in the undercover seating area to the right hand side of the pub as you look at it, and it was found sort of, I believe it's found on the ground where some of the young people had been congregating. In terms of what happened to it, I believe that was then seized by the Metropolitan Police. I was dealing with something inside the premises, so I wasn't involved in that part, I'm afraid. But
okay, so you don't know if it was fingerprinted or anything, or
it would have been retained by the police. I couldn't say what would happen after that. Sorry.
That's fine. That's just wanted to know if there's any more detail around that. It's obviously it's an offensive weapon. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay. Any more questions, Mrs. Grewal? Do you have any questions to Dave Roberts?
No, I don't at the moment.
You don't. In this case, I will invite you to make your case, please. Can you present your case, please?
Yes. First of all, I would like to say that we've had the license since 2005, and there's been no complaints until now. The noise nuisance, the gentleman that his door opens into our car park, and because he was being a nuisance, we said you can't use that door, basically, and that's why all these noise pollutions come up. And we get on very well with everyone around. It's not a problem. And you know, we've had the license until now without problems. Issue with neighbours, those in the shelter, and reports made in the police. And then the people in the shelter, I myself have gone there and asked them to leave. But there's a whole bunch of, I'm not being racist or anything, but Somalian people that sit there, and they will just not leave. And it's threatening to us as well. We've tried to, the police has got umpteen reference numbers when we've called them to the premises to get rid of them. And obviously they go whilst the police is there, and then they come back again. Now we've started putting a sort of a chain in the gateway so that they can't come over. And now it's lessening, or they haven't been coming for the last few months now. But it's just impossible for us to get rid of them, right? On the 27th of November 2019, I was aware of the section of the premises had been booked for a private party. As the manager at the time just told me it's a private party, so I left it to that because I didn't know what sort of party it was. As soon as the manager found out, and as soon as he told me, we took precaution, we got them off the premises, and we stopped it happening. And in relation to 17th of November 2019, an individual person had rented the caravan from us, and we checked their passports, obviously not the visa status, and the ID card status, but the guest came, then people were visiting him. So that wasn't on our record that people are visiting. If you rent somewhere, anyone's allowed to come and visit. And if we'd known that they were illegal or whatever, we would have said like they're not allowed. And on Friday the 17th November, there was another incident involving individuals visiting the smoking shelter who had not purchased alcohol from the premises. They were aggressive and were found to be in possession of a machete. This has been a problem, and we have been trying to combat with our local police to get rid of them. And those are the three incidents you've got written down on the thing. I've got my manager now, who is now Prashant Tyagi. Is he allowed to speak and give explanation?
I don't think so, because we don't have him as down as attending the hearing today.
Yes, it was on the link that you sent me. His name was on there. Puneet Grewal and Prashant Tyagi.
Mrs. Zeb, could you please advise?
Chair, it's a matter for you. If he's present, perhaps Mrs. Grewal should have identified him at the beginning of the hearing, but if he's supporting her position in regards to this application for a review, then my advice would be that he should be allowed to speak.
Thank you. Okay, then, Mrs. Gurpreet, we are happy for your representative to come and speak.
Thank you so much.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Can you
Thank
please
very much for allowing
introduce
me to
yourself?
speak on behalf of myself, and then on behalf of Mrs. Garewal here. So I was listening throughout
Sorry,
the.
can you please introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Prashant Tyagi.
Prashant Tyagi, yes.
Yeah, and I'm running the day-to-day operations at the Old Oak Train.
Yes, since when, please?
Since last year.
Like, can you give us a date?
Since last year, I think it was July.
July 2025.
Yes.
And in your capacity as managing?
As managing, yes.
Yes, managing the premises. Okay. Please go ahead, continue.
Okay, so as all the charges and all the discussions I've heard so far regarding the ICE raids, for the illegal immigrants staying at the property, I do agree because I was there myself when these events happened, and I actually did help out the officers myself, going open the doors for them to make sure that if there's anything illegal there or anybody's having a problem there, they can sort it out for them, and also to make sure that we don't take part in those illegal activities at all. And we need to make sure that the society does know about that. Also about the people who come and sit openly outside in the smoking area. It happens on every other day basis. It used to happen actually, because even we were tackling with them on our end and asking these people that they are not guests of the premises, they're not staying at the premises, so they should not be sitting there, but they never listen to us, and it's always risky with them to argue or anything, as you must have heard that they found the machete there as well lying next to these people on one of the occasions. So it's risky for us to involve directly. Also, we have proof that we have called police, local police, on several occasions to, rectify all these problems we face on our end as well, and try to make sure that the premises are safe and sound for the public, and it's also safe for the people who are coming and going out of the premises. And on the other hand, the noise issues, I think there were some private parties booked in past, but as soon as we realized that it was going against the law and we were told, then we have already stopped them. So there's no more events happening as such of that. So we are well aware of our responsibilities as well to make sure that there's no public nuisance and safety for the public and people who are, coming to the pub to enjoy and have a good time. But it's been a pub there in the community, I think one of the oldest ones. And I have guests come there on daily basis who have been coming there for like 30 years, 40 years, and none of them have ever had a complaint with us. They're just like regular families we have there.
Okay, thank you. Would Mrs. Gurpreet like to add any more?
Sure.
Anything else?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for letting Prashant speak. I just wanted to say that our premises does not attract these people, individuals who are bombarding the premises. We have contacted the police on each occasion. There have been no warnings, and it should be dealt with within a warning. We have worked through COVID and continued to work with the police, achieving the licensing objectives. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Gurpreet.
Thank you.
I will move now to questions. I'll start with Robert Deere. If you have any questions to ask Mrs. Grewal.
Yes, Chair. How long has Prashant been the manager at the premises?
Just over a year.
Just over a year.
Oh, well, almost a year.
Almost a year. And has he worked at the premises before?
On and off. I mean, the person that booked that party, the one you're saying, the naked women, all that, we sacked that manager because it was mismanagement. We didn't realize that he was doing this behind our back, or if he knew of what the party was. Once he told me, then we got rid of the manager, and obviously the party told us.
In your representation, you said about the night in 2019 that as soon as you found out about it, you shut it down.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't, did you? Because we did. We shut it down. We went there and found naked people there performing dances, breaking the law, and your manager or bar person was stood behind the bar serving these customers.
Well,
Why did he not phone you immediately as soon as they started dancing? Because they didn't just start dancing 2 minutes before I got there. Why didn't he phone you? Because if somebody started dancing naked and they put up a booths in the pub that I was drinking in, I think I'd phone the police or whatever.
Yeah, because of that, we sacked him at the same time. We said, you know, this is not on, and you know, you shouldn't be doing this behind our back.
Right. Okay.
When I go there twice a day to the pub, like once in the day if they need any stock or anything, then I go and get it, and then once in the evening I pop in there, and then you know it's just like seeing how many people are there or you know whatever. We arrange staff accordingly.
Okay. And so you go there once, twice a day, every day, or?
Yes, every day.
Okay.
And if I'm
so
away,
how?
Then I
when was the last time you checked the CCTV then?
Once a month, maybe.
Once a month. So when was it not working when the officers went there and tried to view it? It wasn't recording, wasn't it?
Maybe it was out of order at the time.
But you hadn't reported it, or you didn't
No, we
notice
were
it?
waiting for the engineer to turn up.
Right, okay. So you checked it, found it weren't working,
And called
and
the
you
engineer.
decided just phone an engineer and yeah, okay. The outdoor shelter. Have you thought about taking it down?
We have thought about taking it down, but we do need to provide a smoking area for everyone, which
Yeah,
is
they can stand outside, can they not?
Sorry?
Stand outside.
But I think
Surely
it is
customers.
covered.
It doesn't have to be covered.
Well, I thought it did, and that's why we made it like a shelter for them. We can take it down, it's not a problem.
I think that's the easiest thing to do, isn't it? Remove the shelter, then the Somalian youths won't turn up anymore.
Okay.
Easy suggestion, really. But
Okay, we'll do that.
okay, so you also mentioned that well, I think Parsham was there the night I was there in the last occasion.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
November 25.
Yeah, because we woke him up.
Mm-hmm.
He was in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out. He didn't say he was the manager. He said he was just looking after the premises for that day.
Well, maybe he was still sort of half asleep when you woke him up.
Okay. And part of your role, or the manager's role, as Parshan is now, is it to deal with pest control?
We've had pest control people in because the premises is near a canal. We get these bugs, but we are having them done once a month. The pest controller coming in to service the place and check for everything.
Okay. And what about bed bugs? There's another complaint about, isn't
treated as well.
They've been treated.
Yeah.
Because there are outstanding. Well, there are been complaints over the years, haven't there, about bed bugs and cockroaches?
Yes, we've seen to it. We've had pest control in, and they're keeping regular checks on it.
Because I think Officer Goodchild from the immigration actually was a bit upset that he found a lot of cockroaches in your mobile home out the back.
We've closed that one down.
You've closed that down?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you appreciate, and I'm sure that if we need any clarification of the exact law about people renting, that the immigration have got power there as well?
Yes, when people come and ask to rent a room or whatever, we check their passport and then they rented a room. And with a valid ID. We don't check their visa status, which maybe we should in future.
Well, 100%, yeah. Because if there's no visa in their passport, they shouldn't be in the country, surely.
No, I know, but when I did a check-in yesterday myself, actually, and then I checked the gentleman's driving license. I took his driving license details down, and there was no need to check anything else.
And just one other question, because the gentleman that was, because you're a hotel, there's a sign outside, isn't there?
Yes.
But people stay there long term, don't they? They're long term tenants. They're not hotel guests.
Not really. Maybe like a week or a week and a half.
But what about the gentleman that had been staying there? We found him in the downstairs bedroom with the woman, had been there months, paying £500 a month.
I think they've been just saying that because they want, you know, a room downstairs. A person stayed as a couple. A room was booked by the lady who wasn't there.
She was there.
No, another lady booked the room.
Another lady was there. Oh, right.
No,
she was
there.
clear.
No.
Her status was clear, and she'd
No,
been in that room for a month.
Can I just rectify that?
Yeah, please.
Another lady booked the room, but this couple came to stay.
Okay.
So the other lady did not stay at all.
So I'm just going to go to noise quickly, and I appreciate I don't want to step on Evelina's toes because I'm sure she's got some questions for you. But there have been noise complaints since in July, August. I'm not too sure what the current state of them is. Oh.
Sorry, who's supposed to speak?
Mr. Dear, is this a question?
Sorry, Chair. That was the fire alarm going off in Percival House. At one stage, I thought I was going to have to leave the room.
Okay.
I've lost my train of thought now, actually, but I shall leave it there, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will move now to Evelina. Do you have any questions?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions to Mrs. Grewal, please. So you said in 2019 you had to sack the manager because he was running the premises inappropriately, least to say. Where were you last year? Didn't you know about your premises being open until early morning hours and having those congregations and functions? Didn't you feel that it was necessary to supervise it closely, given that the previous management failed to promote the licensing objectives at all? Didn't you supervise them at all? Were you present? Did you participate in those functions?
My mother passed away in India, and I had to go there for obviously rituals, and I was away for about a month.
And when was that, please?
Last year.
And which month was that?
In April.
In April, okay. All right. So I'm sure you've seen the revenue and income, increased revenue and receipts. Didn't you question anyone about what was happening in the pub during your absence?
I didn't get any increased revenue.
Okay. Okay. You also mentioned that there was no complaints from the police. I've been in touch with the local S&T regarding the antisocial behavior around the premises, and they did say to me they were in discussion with, I'm not sure it was you or your husband, I'm sorry, how to actually prevent the congregations and people coming around the venue. Are you aware of any contact from the local Safer Neighbourhoods policing team regarding the situation around the pub?
Yes, they did, and I think we assisted them in every way we could.
Okay. Also, I'll go back to the speech of Mr. Pashand. He said he had stopped the parties because he was told they were illegal. It's very disappointing because as the manager, he should have known the premises license in details. He should know what are the licensable hours, what are the conditions of his license. You know, it's striking for me to see that the person appointed as the manager of the pub has very little knowledge and understanding. Didn't you notice that as the owner, that he was failing to run the premises in a responsible manner?
Can I pass on to Prashant to answer that one?
I mean, I spoke to Mr. Pashand. I know his attitude and I know how he will answer this question, but I'm asking you as the DPS, please, if you could respond. Where were you? you know, as the person responsible for the premises, the owner of the business, did you feel, are you still feeling that he's the right person running the place?
Well, I'm going to have to review his knowledge basically and go through the licensing objectives with him and give him a bit more training on how to run the premises.
Okay, and also, are you aware that you should be having a copy of the premises license available for view at any time?
Yes,
because every time I visited, and I also followed it up with the emails to yourself and your husband, a copy of the premises was never ever available to us for us to review its conditions. So that's a breach in itself.
I can send it to you.
I think I had to send it to your husband because he did ask me. He wasn't aware of that, and there's also an audio trail of this conversation. He did ask me for a copy of his own pub, and the premises sorry, apologies, for the copy of the premises license of the pub he was running with you. So, you know, that's something I'd like to hear from you. How do you see this situation when I'm, as a noise officer, trying to rectify and work with you as a business owner, and I'm asked for conditions of your own premises license? So that seems to me that you're not interested or have no understanding how the place is run. You're posing a risk to the public by having this limited knowledge.
I apologize for that, but the license had been misplaced at the time. Okay. When we had the pub renovated, and it's just wasn't available. That's why he probably asked you to send it to him again.
Okay. All right. Just bear with me 1 second. So, yeah, I'll have no more questions for now. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. I have a point of clarification to Ms. Grewal. What is the involvement of your husband in the premises?
He's the co-lease owner. He's lease owner, and he sort of he does, if there's any repairs to be done and overlooking things, he does that for me. Mm-hmm. Because obviously I can't be there 24/7. I'm there twice a day, every day. And okay. The rest of the time, he pops in as well and does the necessary that needs doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, Mrs. Grewal, are you aware that under the Licensing Act 2003, as the premises holder, you have duties to make sure that the licensing objectives are upheld? So do you really understand what these are? Can you explain to us what are the licensing objectives?
Yes, the prevention of crime and disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and protection of children from harm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to elaborate on those?
Well, not yet.
Okay.
Thank you. I will go back now to Dave Roberts. Do you have any questions?
No, not a particular question. The only thing I would say is over the 2 visits that we conducted, where we arrested numerous people who were residing at the accommodation, the guidance for people letting property and or letting rooms and what have you is all available on the gov.uk website in terms of responsibilities on the landlord and what have you. So just
no, I mean, if you have any questions to ask Ms. Grewal.
Sorry, no, nothing further to add.
No questions. Okay, I will move now to Councillor Gallant. Can you please ask your question?
Thank you very much, Chair. Just a question for Mr. Tyagi, if he's there. What training has he had in running a premises like that? Have you had any alcohol training? Do you hold a personal license yourself?
Yes, I do hold a personal license, and I've been in the industry for quite a while, working on the hospitality industry.
Okay, so what measures have you taken to stop noise escaping from the venue, and particularly as it's supposed to close at 11 o'clock? What active measures have you taken?
Basically, when these noises complaints were made, As I can recall that there used to be sometimes, weekend parties booked, but we have already stopped that and made sure that anybody who try to hire the venue, they are well aware that by 11 o'clock it has to be shut down on the weekends and by 10:30 on Sundays.
Okay, so what other measures, what soundproofing measures have you got in there?
Well, soundproofing is because we don't really have a music at there. We don't really do a background music even. It's just the TV volumes, usually for the local customers when they are in the premises. So we don't really play the music there at all.
Okay, so you just if it's played, so you don't play music there at all, huh?
No, only if there's a venue hire and if it's a party, only then it is played, and that's also to a minimal noises so that it doesn't disrupt the neighbors.
Yeah, but have you got any active sound control measures in there, or do you just turn the volume down? Not at the moment. Okay. Would you actually agree to that should happen? That's something we could discuss.
Well, yes, we certainly can get everything in place.
So you'd agree to actually, probably a question for Mrs. Graval, that you'd actually agree to install sound control measures.
Yes, I mean, we do. They do close the doors, obviously. Then the noise. That's some sort of prevention. But we are trying to get some soundproofing in there. So even if the music is loud, the noise doesn't escape from the door or the building.
Okay, so that's something you can think of. Mrs. Gravel, as you all there, can I just check? This is probably just we'll probably ask this question again, but you've agreed that the shelter will be taken down, will it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Would you also agree that you should be on your guests? You should be checking on visas.
We will do for now. We will do. Definitely.
All right. So not just passports, but visas as well.
Yes, we will do.
Okay. Could you please?
On the other hand, just a question. On the other hand, I don't understand. I mean, yesterday when I checked someone in, I took their driving license number and not even looked at their passport.
Okay.
So is that wrong?
I'm not going to get into that because that's probably a legal question for Ms. Zeb, whether hotels can actually be obliged to do that. But I'm asking you whether you would actually volunteer to do that. So I think that's probably a question.
Definitely.
Okay. Could you please tell me what the staff structure in there is? So there's your husband's the co-lease owner with you. You're the designated premises supervisor, and you've got Mr. Diaghi as the manager. Who lives on the premises. What other staffing is there?
The pub isn't really that busy past COVID, and it's just like if we need extra staff, then we get it. Otherwise, Mr. Tyagi runs it on his own. And we have a gentleman called Manpreet and a cleaner.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. That's fine for me now. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you. I can see that Robert Deere has a question. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. It's just that Parveen said that they don't have music apart from, excuse me, when they have a private party. When I put the blue notice up on the 23rd of January, I took a photo of that blue notice in the window, and it's on page 51 of your reports. And right on the left-hand window, which are not double glazed, they're old windows, old sash windows. It says music party, music by DJ Greggy G, which I presume would be playing some sort of bass music. But a shut door is not going to stop that through windows that, as you can see, are just single glazed sash windows and just paint covering them. Is that true, Mrs. Grow? I'll ask you. I don't know if Parshan's gone, but
no,
you do have music on a Friday night, I think it is actually.
I think that notice was put up, but not really happened. I'll pass you on to Prashant.
Hello there. Sorry. Basically, the advertisement you're talking about on the window about the Friday and Saturday night DJ nights, it was put up by one of the local DJs, but this party never took place because we didn't really get any response for people to join in on those weekend parties.
Okay. While you're there, Pasha, do you do the booking? Not booking. Sorry. do you do the staff rota?
Well, it's not much to do the staff rota here. So basically, it's only me, myself working there who opens and closes the pub on daily basis. And there's another guy who actually comes and do the housekeeping for the rooms we hire out.
Okay. But on the 23rd of January, when you were the manager, you didn't sign my inspection form when I served a review, did you?
No, I didn't. I think it was.
No, you didn't. No. You said it was actually a receptionist.
Yeah. That was the guy, Manpreet, I'm talking about, our house cleaner. Well, I was away at the moment for the lunch break. So I left him behind the bar for a half an hour or so. Then I spoke to you over the phone, I think.
You did indeed, yeah. And you said you've said there that he's a housekeeper, cleaner, so he's a receptionist, he's a barman, because people were in there drinking. Yeah. Because when I walked out, there was another 3 people in the car park there. I don't know if you check the CCTV regularly. Who tried to abuse me, but you know, went straight over my head. Don't worry.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, because I put the blue notice up, they weren't impressed. Okay, thank you very much for that, Chair. Thank you, Parshan.
Okay, I'll move now to Evelina.
Thank you, Chair. Very quickly, because I've made a representation in relation to the public prevention of public nuisance licensing objectives, I wanted to ask Mrs. Grewal if she has seen online review regarding the state of the hotel of her clients. Mrs. Grewal, have you seen any of those reviews online and the photographs provided by the clients?
Yes, that's all been rectified.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is, apologies. Would you like to finish?
Yeah, we've got. First of all, I apologize. You're going to hear snoring. That's my dog snoring. It's
I couldn't hear.
It's like all that's been because we've got pest control in every month now. So all that is under control. There's no bugs, no nothing. You know, everything. And we've got a special, like a cleaner in there regularly every day that does all the cleaning, changing of the beds and everything.
Right, okay.
And checks for bugs.
I understand it's a hotel, so it's a separate entity to your pub. However, obviously, it's quite likely from the, from the nuisance perspective that it can spread into the pub, and the bed bugs, cockroaches, and
that's already been taken care of. And we have receipts to provide.
Yeah. There are also photographs of the wires exposed. That's another risk. That's something
that's all been done.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No more questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I move now to Councillor Shaw, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I was just wondering, you say you visit twice a day the premises. Have you done that throughout the time you've been the licence holder on?
Yes, except if I'm away.
Yeah, obviously, sorry to hear about your mother, and thank you. Obviously when you're not around or on holiday, then you won't be able to do that. But I was just wondering how, it was mentioned that in the 2019 visit with the girls that one of the girls gave evidence that this was a regular booking every Wednesday that they attended. So I was just wondering if you had never seen that before. You are telling us that was a private hire on a one-off occasion, and yet there's evidence within there that this was a regular booking.
That was being done behind my back, and obviously when I went there, everything was fine.
Yeah. And
as soon as I found out that this is going on from one of the punters, I stopped it there and then.
Yes. But you did tell us that you
sacked him.
Yeah. Yes, I appreciate that, and it was good to take swift action. But you also have told us that you visit in the morning or during the daytime, once and see, and then you'd also visit in the evening to see how busy it was. So on none of those Wednesday evenings did you ever encounter anything like that when you visited?
Not whilst I was there.
No. Okay, thank you. Yeah. The other questions I had were just around the recent management, and particularly relating to Evelina trying to deal with managers herself. You know, clearly there've been issues, you know, when it's been trying to be resolved by Evelina as one of the officers. And did none of the managers raise this with you at all in any way?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, none of the people who were managers in this period, which seems fairly turbulent with a bit of turnover of staff, but nobody informed you of Evelina trying to get hold of them or speak to them about problems with noise and nuisance?
Not to my, nobody told me.
No, and you weren't aware of any of the complaints as the premises licence holder that had come in. You hadn't seen any of the complaints that were being raised, or any of the reports from Evelina and from the council's new noise team at all?
No, I haven't seen the emails that have come through, because they come through to my email address.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That's fine. And the did you then, you know, as the premises license holder, then, if you did see those emails, did you try and contact Evelina or the noise team to resolve these? I know that Evelina did speak to you and your husband. That is within the evidence. But did you try and contact them beforehand if you had seen multiple emails coming through?
I tried to solve the situation so that you know, that there would be no more complaints raised.
Yeah. Okay. And just to go back to the link with the hotel and with guests, you know, you've mentioned and you've asked, and it isn't really for us in this hearing to deal with you checking on immigration statuses of the guests, but do guests at the hotel use the pub at all? Is that quite a regular thing?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, not the ladies as much.
Yeah.
It's more a man's pub, basically. You know, like
Right.
it's, if they come, we serve them. If they don't, they want to go somewhere else, then they, you know.
Yes.
They're free to do that.
Yes, no, of course. I'm just wondering where, you know, the checks of the status of individuals and then the use of the premises, and how you think that might overlap, and then how that fits in with preventing crime and disorder.
Well, now what we're going to do, as I said, we will check their visa status, and passports are obviously checked. And I mean, if their visa status doesn't meet the requirement, then obviously they will not be rented a room. Yes. And I mean, okay. Whoever wants to walk in and have a drink, I mean, as it is, business is not that good. You know, it's your livelihood. If somebody wants to have a pint, obviously you're there to serve them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. I have a few questions. Mrs. Grewal, how big is the hotel? If you can tell us exactly how many people attend every day?
We have like about 7-8 rooms,
Mm-hmm.
and we might get like 5 or 6 people staying, or you know, on throughout the week.
What about the bar area?
It's not that busy.
Not that busy. So, have you ever had plans to get a security guard, for instance, because of the antisocial behavior and people congregating outside your premises?
We have thought about it, and we, you know, every time they plan to stay, we call the police. We've got police report numbers and everything. Sometimes the police turns up, sometimes they don't. So, you know, I mean, I think knocking the shelter down will prevent all that happening.
But do you have as a premises, and like you're a hotel and well, a bar as well, do you not have a specific dispersal plan in place? Because you as the manager.
We regularly check the shelter, obviously, and the manager makes sure or tries to make sure that they don't congregate. But, you know, if it happens, they will turn around. We put the chain on at night in the gateway so that they can't get in. And it is preventing them from getting in.
How is it preventing them from getting in when there's well, a specific incident we're talking about where 7 individuals were having alcohol and drugs, and if I'm correct to say, there was a knife also that was seized during the raid.
Yeah, they buy the alcohol from elsewhere, not from us. And now I think whatever they do is they will not listen to us. We've tried and tried and tried. So I think the best option is to knock it down, which we will, but then they won't have a shelter to sit in.
Yeah, but the problem is you are the premises holder, and this is a private premises, right? So they are standing in your own property. It's not always the police responsibility to deal with incidents like this. You, as the premises, you have to take immediate actions to mitigate all these problems. So since these incidents started to occur, you didn't come to your mind to address these issues?
We have addressed them. We tell them to go. What else can we do? I mean, you know, it's scary to talk to them because they stop being abusive. To our staff, to myself, to my husband, we've tried each and every day. Every time they've been there, I've personally said, I said, please leave the premises. And they come up to you and say, oh, make me. You know, what do you do to that? You don't want to get stabbed by them.
Well,
and then we call the police.
I think Councillor Shaw had a question to ask.
Sorry, it's been dealt with.
It was
Thank you, Chair.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Also, I have one last question to ask about training. Can you tell us what training has your staff had? Specifically, what type of trainings?
They have health and safety training.
Yes.
Obviously, the objectives, licensing objectives, they're told not to exceed those. You know, they'd have to keep in compliance with them. Obviously, like nuisance and underage drinking, they get trained for all that.
Okay. Okay, before we move, I would like to just get clarification about any conditions. I have wrote one condition that was put by Mrs. Retreat. You accepted that you would be removing the shelter, right?
Yes.
Any other conditions, colleagues? Have you considered any conditions during our? Yes.
One of them was the I believe that the premises have agreed to install soundproofing, yes, noise control equipment in the premises.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I will also ask Bob Deere and Dave Roberts and Evelina, do you have any conditions that you would like to put just in case this license is upheld? Any conditions?
Nothing that springs to mind, Chair, apart from the license hasn't got any conditions from 2005 apart from the hours. Yes. And very, very old conditions. But I'm sorry to have to say that, and obviously I will sum this up in my summing up, that I don't think this is appropriate for conditions because of the non-compliance that's happened over 7.5 years.
Okay, thank you, Bob. All right, I can see Councillor Gallant. Okay.
Thanks, Chair. One thing I thought of as the license is an old one, and I'm not looking at it right now, so forgive me if I've missed it. But if CCTV is not mentioned in there, perhaps that could be that CCTV functioning, downloadable CCTV, which can be easily seen by any inspecting officer at any time. Would that be acceptable? Modernised CCTV coverage. Yeah.
We can add this.
Would that be acceptable, Mrs. Greville? Would that be acceptable?
Yes, yes, it would be.
Okay, okay, thank you, thanks.
Thank you. I will move now to summing up. I will invite Robert Deere to please briefly sum up.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, mainly I've been dealing with the crime prevention objective, although they all carry the same weight. We go to 2019, warned about breaches, no sexual entertainment venue licence or letter exemption, an unlicensed store supervisor, that's one they can have perhaps getting a reputable company if you're thinking of that line, because again, no paperwork to say, even to get his name. 2023, another immigration visit, 25 persons encountered, 9 arrests, 2 from the trader in rear garden of the car park. Yes, we've heard that these people have booked in somebody's name and they've had multiple guests turning up. 5 rooms above the pub. Some of these people are long-term guests and they're not hotel guests at all. And obviously a referral was sent to London Borough of Ealing about the state of the rooms with cockroaches, bed bugs and everything else in the premises. My last visit on the 25th of in November 2025, the premise has been open late, till 3:30 in the morning. Very serious breaches of the license, not what they call, or a barrister would call, technical. But, these are serious. They're upsetting neighbours who apparently gets, because he keeps complaining, and I never even met the gentleman, even if it is a gentleman, Miss Greville basically says, you're not coming out your door anymore into my car park. Well, she can prevent that, but she can't prevent 7 Somalis walking in and using the premises and obviously buying alcohol in the off licence 3 doors up from her premises. It used to be called Sunny Express before I revoked it. These premises are in a special priority area as well. So appreciate we're not talking about rebuttable presumptions and things like that anymore. But again, no documentation has ever been asked for, and that's lack of knowledge. Let's keep up to date with law. If, God forbid, if the immigration officer here decided he wasn't going to read the latest laws that come out, that's his job. Noise complaints, notice served, CCTV not recording, we've heard. And I think I heard Evelina say about Prashan's attitude when he was spoken to once. That's not what we expect. That's a standard, a very low standard. It does ask the question of when all this has been happening, what's the DPS, premises licence holder, or the management team of one been doing on their daily visits to the pub? Cockroaches, I said, bed bugs found in inspection visits, backed up by not very nice reviews. I'm sure probably that's why it's not busy, because the reviews are awful. This girl has also admitted in her own presentation there's no training apart from health and safety she's added recently, and the 4 licence objectives, a bit of can't serve drunk and underage. All I can say is it's one of the worst, and probably the worst, example of management or lack of control ever known, and I've had over 40 years licensing experience and enforcement experience, actually more now. Normally I make a recommendation because that's what we have to ask for. I recommend that you members of the committee look at the evidence and decide there is enough, which I think there is, but I'm asking you, the subcommittee, to look at 5 options. So I'm asking you to go straight to number 1. And that's revocation, because that is the only, I say, the only sanction that should be considered, as it is the most appropriate, proportionate and necessary in these extreme circumstances. And to say I've got no confidence in this pub or the management of this pub is probably a bit lenient, I would say. I've got, so that's my summing up anyway. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll move now to Dave Roberts. Please, can you sum up?
Thank you. Yeah, I think Mr. Deere has probably included everything that I would wish to add. Obviously, we've been on 2 occasions. We've made numerous arrests on both those occasions, and on the final one, the most concerning was regarding the outdoor area where people were able to congregate and sort of create a public nuisance. So those would be my points, but I think I shall leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move to Evelina, please, if you can sum up briefly.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to remind everyone that this is not just a nuisance consideration, but it's a very serious situation where an offence actually is being committed because the premises has been operating outside of the licensable hours. So not they were only causing nuisance and distress and alarm to the local neighbours, but they were committing an offence. And I know that Mr. Pashan said we were told this was illegal, we had stopped, but in fact he had to be told a couple of times, and the situation needed to be escalated to an enforcement level before he actually took any actions. He or the owners, it still isn't clear. And what's very disappointing is that Mrs. Grewal is still satisfied with Mr. Pashan being in the same position. He is the person that allegedly that had led her to this hearing, because he was allowing for the premises to operate until very late at night. So it's very disappointing to see that she's still willing to work with him. And my question is that does Mrs. Grewal has any control over the pub? If he's not informing Mrs. Grewal of the correspondence that is sent to the pub regarding the premises, complaints about the premises or the visits from the enforcement and local authorities, he decides to go ahead with another party or function until early morning hours. Is Mrs. Grewal able to control the venue at all, or be a responsible premises license holder? I doubt it. So yeah, I fully support.
Sorry, my battery is running low.
Situation.
Plug it back in.
Apologies, I couldn't hear. So just 1 second. So yeah, I'd like to just say that I fully agree with Mr. Deere, and the only reasonable outcome of this would be to revoke the premises license. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mrs. Grewal,
Yes.
could you kindly sum up briefly? I know you're dealing with the batteries running low, you said?
Yes. I've just plugged it back in, don't worry.
Okay, perfect.
I would like to apologize for all the mishaps that have happened. And I promise that, in future, everything will be intact and we will knock the smoking shelter down, which will prevent the congregation of the Somalians out there. And as we said, we'll put noise control in, and there'll be no loud music played.
Okay, thank you. I think now we are at the end of this hearing. We will, the panel will retire to deliberate together with legal advisor and clerk, and we shall be back around 12:30.
Today?
Yes, today, Mrs. Grewal. Just wanted to check if the live feed is off.
I'm about to turn it off now, thank you.